Good morning, Dr. Martin and Renee. How are you today?
Good morning, Kevin. I'm well, thank you. And I'm just so excited to be on today with this LinkedIn Live. Very cool.
Yeah, me as well. I can't believe it's our first time. We've obviously been connecting, but I'm so excited to be connecting with the live audience.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me today. And we're going to be talking about, we're really going to be talking about a series of events. And this will be our first really episode in doing so. So bear with us if we stumble or fall off our stools or what have you, or we're really excited about this topic. And with further ado, we will be talking about how to grow your practice's impact and profitability by integrating a new treatment modality. I'm joined by Dr. Curtis Martin, founder and of Alignment Health Practice Group and Dr. Martin Coaching. He's Chief Executive Officer, and he focuses on elevating regenerative tissue therapy and chiropractic professionals through education, resources, executive coaching, speaking, and is an amazing mentor. Welcome, Dr. Martin.
Well, thank you. And that was quite an intro. I, I think of myself as kind of a humble servant. So when I hear all those titles, I'm like, wow. But yeah, it's definitely a calling for what we do. And I know a lot of people that are listening, especially healthcare providers, it's such an important mission that we're on about changing the world one patient at a time. So that's always been my resonance that I've resonated with. And so I'm just so excited about sharing what I've done and what I've learned and what I've implemented.
Well, we are too, and we're here because of that. And I cannot wait to get further into each discussion that we do in the future. And
Yes.
we've got lots of content. So I'm also joined by my professional colleague and friend, Renee Maroney. And Renee brings a tremendous value to Dr. Martin Coaching as his COO. And she's one of the most enthusiastic and driven professionals that I know. And every day is exciting, and I know that she brings a tremendous amount of value to Dr. Martin Coaching and has done so for many, many years. So, both of you, welcome. And if there's anything that I missed and you want to say about each other, here's a great opportunity. And just again, welcome. I'm just really, really happy to finally get you guys on board here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I guess I would love to share the context that I've worked with Dr. Martin for over 13 years now. And I've also had the pleasure of being a patient in our offices. So that's given me a great perspective to share today. So, just like the Lorax says, I speak for the trees. I like to think that I speak for the patients and I speak for the assistants, the administrative staff of the office. So, together, we're going to share some exciting concepts. There's a lot of people looking to grow profitability, and they're reaching out for ways to do so. So I can't wait to have this conversation.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited too, and I know both of you bring a tremendous amount of different and aligned value to your company. So let's get started. And today we're going to discuss strategies, the shiny object syndrome, impact of hasty implementations, the presenter's intention, mindset for success, choosing the right add-on, responsible implementation strategy, patient-centric approach, effective promotion strategies, case study, shockwave therapy. So let's get started.
Perfect. Well, we're excited about talking about this, and it is. I was just when you said that, I was thinking about some of the audience might be salespeople of manufacturers, and probably they're just like, I hope this isn't fingernails down the chalkboard for them. When all of a sudden, what? There's a strategy. There's actually a plan. There's a recipe. There's a blueprint. We have to follow this in order to become successful. I'd rather just sell these people and these doctors a nice shiny new object and look at what it can do. And what I see is they always say it's simple, it's easy. And
It's
every
not.
doctor that's listening to this, especially doctors who've been around the block for more than 2 weeks, they all have different things that they've purchased at seminars, and a lot of times they're in the closet collecting dust sometimes. So yeah, we're excited about starting this plan off and exactly what to do. So Very good.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
certainly that's what we've done too, right? So we're speaking from experience, we're speaking from our own growing pains, and not wanting another office to go through what we have. So
Yeah.
we're going to share those details.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And just to clarify what a modality is for maybe some folks that don't know what that might be, I know there's a variety of definitions for a modality. Can you just touch on that really quick? And then we could start going down our list of exceptional details one should consider for the practice.
Yeah, modality is basically how we define it is whatever your we call it your meat and potato services. So, as all the healthcare providers, whether you're a medical doctor, physical therapist, chiropractic, orthopedist, there is certain things we do that is our core. And what a modality is truly it's something that's an add-on service to provide a better outcome for the patient. And there's a variety of different modalities that you can add. And I think the other part is not just a modality, but one of the things they don't talk about, I'll give you a gem today, is start to think about modalities in terms of attended and unattended. And that's an important piece that a lot of times you miss because attended means that you have to either hire somebody or a doctor has to do it, or there's a staffing issue that comes with it, with attended modalities. And then there's another one. I know a lot of doctors love this, the unattended modality, which means that the patient can put themselves on it once they're trained, or a staff member can put them onto a unit and the modality just does its magic. So that's the first clarifying thing that I hope you're writing that down is to define whether you want a attended or unattended, staff driven or not staff driven. That's an important piece to start off with. But that is what a modality is. And there's your first nugget for this LinkedIn Live.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started and why this topic is so important to you. I know that you've had some bumps in the road with implementing a modality or
Mhm.
modalities yourself. So let's take our viewers down why we're here and why you want to share why it's so important to listen to what you have to say because I know that you've invested many years, probably the last 2 years, in developing your own program so that you can help other practitioners be
Yeah.
successful and not recreate the wheel.
And that's a great question about why I put a modality into the practice. I think this is an excellent question. And personally, it was my personal injury story that led me down a road to accelerate my own healing. But to be specific about the modality, modalities are extremely expensive. And so when I bought a shockwave device, it was extremely expensive. And so I didn't follow my own advice. I didn't even ask whether it was attended or unattended or whether I had the bandwidth to implement something that would be a lot of training and technique. And really, when you look at something like a modality, I just looked at it like, how do we accelerate? How do we help people get better results? And so, one of the things is that when you really slow down for a second and say, what is your goal as a provider? Do you want to have a reputation where you get good results, or you want a reputation in your community that you're getting outstanding results? And people come to you that have nowhere else to turn, and with your assistance and guidance and these modalities and the meat and potatoes box, you can get people outstanding results. And so that was the reason why I decided to add a modality that could get even better results than I was already getting. But it was a learning curve. Don't get me wrong. This is 4.5+ years, and I certainly have stubbed my toe, whatever analogy you want to put, slam my hand in the door. I mean, there are some ouch moments to get to a point where things were figured out in order to implement them properly. And really what it comes down to is maximizing your investment in this modality. So if you're going to get a modality, which we're going to go through this whole thing, it's important to maximize that because you weren't in your office just to provide a service. There's another thing called making money. And that's the one thing that is very, very important because at the end of the day, it's not just how much money you grow to, but also how much money you keep. So we're very conscious that we are switch up, I call it switch up, where we're saving lives, but also switch down. This is a business and you need to get paid.
Yeah.
So that's the teeter totter, and you need guidance to navigate that, to keep that in balance.
Excellent. Renee, I'd like to point a question to you specifically. How did your team and patients feel when you implemented a new modality? Like they had their sold solid something, or how did you sell them this new modality? And what was that
Yeah.
like for you?
That's a great question. So, Dr. Martin talks about the reason that he added a shockwave device, just one of many modalities that are out there, one of many treatments, therapies, things, devices that you can add. When he added that, it was from a personal need. And so our staff initially, of course, loving their leader, was in support of having this device available to him, to our team. And then as we saw results, in his own condition, totally excited to share that with patients. However, there's always the issue of time, scheduling, learning, like everything Dr. Martin just mentioned. And unfortunately, with a lot of these medical devices or modalities, you aren't given the tools to properly implement it. So there's a level of stress involved. We definitely experienced it. And so there's a headspace of, yes, we love, we serve, we want to elevate patients' results. We want to collect more money, but we need to understand it first to be properly educated in order to communicate the value to a patient. So that's the thing, is our staff trains really hard about meeting patients where they're at and what the patient needs. We don't like this in the box mentality or treating people like a number that unfortunately patients get in so many medical or healthcare offices. We're the opposite of that. We strive for that every day. So when we implemented Shockwave, and when we've implemented other things, our intention always was to serve the patient best. So understanding what this could offer them and how it's going to change their lives, right? What are their reasons why? What are their reasons that they need treatment, that they're seeking solutions? And then how can we be a part of that? And as far as the sales part of it, that's just signing on a dotted line. That's just a formality. It's really more about the relationship and the change that patient's going to go through.
Excellent. Dr. Martin, let's talk about your intention and really what that is for you.
Yeah, I think always with intention is, I think I kind of touched on it before, but as a profession, I'm a chiropractor. And so my intention when I go ahead and deliver an outstanding adjustment, very specific, highly intentional with what we're trying to achieve. And it's a great word that you just brought in, because it's highly intentional with an adjustment. It does release the body's innate intelligence to help heal itself. So we're basically very clear about what we do is we're kind of a tool for that body to remove the interference, allow the body to heal itself and get back into a resting, healing state. Shockwave is the one modality. We have multiple modalities, but one of the things about shockwave that, after a deep dive and looking at a lot of research for years now, and really going through the research papers about truly what it does, to give this the short, simple answer, what shockwave does, the intention of shockwave is to release the cell's innate intelligence to heal whatever problem that that person has. So whether it's a bone, a ligament, a tendon, a muscle, a nerve root, whatever has been damaged, the body has the ability to heal itself or adapt. So I always tell every single person, you have the ability to heal or adapt. Know that. So if they have that intention, and I have the intention of releasing the body's innate intelligence from a chiropractic standpoint, and now from a cellular standpoint, all those three things, it's a win, win, win. Patient intention to get well, cell innate intelligence, body's innate intelligence, all combined together as the most powerful way to heal the body. And it's not me, it's them, but we're releasing all those three things. And we could get in deeper, but just for those three things that I mentioned, if you can always mention that to the patient, you're releasing that person's innate intelligence to go to work, letting their unconscious know that their body can heal or adapt, especially if they've been told that they can't heal. and they're just kind of crippled in their own mind to say, you know what, I'm always going to have this problem. And it's, I'm like telling them, the first thing I say, this isn't your problem. Back pain's not supposed to live in you. It's not your back pain. So let's just stop saying that. Let's not own that. So that's why the body can heal or adapt from anything, release that person's unconscious innate, chiropractic release the nerve innate intelligence, and then release the cellular innate. You do that, you're going to get outstanding results. There's a lot of other missing pieces in this recipe, but philosophically, that is my intention.
Excellent. Excellent. Renee, would you like to add on to that? I know from a patient-centric approach, you are half of this, and as far as the team and the really the business aspect of it and supporting Dr. Martin, what he specializes in. I want to add over 25 years in practice, over 3 offices. And you mentioned the approximate number of people that you have treated. And please remind the audience what that is, because it was pretty astounding.
Yeah, so I mean, tens of thousands.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
remember that.
it's kind of a amazing number. Tens of thousands of patients have been treated during Dr. Martin's career with these 3 offices. I think that what I'd like to add to what he was saying about what our intention is our attention aligns with what I'm witnessing in my own circle, my own village. People are tired of suffering, and they're tired of an outside in approach. And so our intention, our chiropractic philosophy is the body inside out. He was just talking about, innate intelligence and releasing, cellular potential. Well, those are big words to use, but really, if we just look at each other, we're tired of taking drugs, we're tired of surgery, we're tired of taking something from the outside. And now, oh my gosh, we love medical professionals. Like we coach not just holistic, offices, but people that are doing injections or surgeries, but they also want to offer a conservative approach first. So I feel like there's this new wave in patients where there's a desire for an alternative. We've been calling it alternative, but maybe it should have been the primary solution all along, right? I think that years ago, in a time that we certainly didn't live in, that was the norm. It was, what route can I take to assist me, or what exercise could I do, or is the sun good for me? Like, just basics. If you think about, before we had drugs, shots, and surgeries, we were looking at what our environment could do for us, what our habits could do for us. And I feel like there's a return to that happening right now that aligns really well with what we're doing in our offices and what our clients are doing in their offices. And I get excited. I get super butterfly about it, because that's what I want for my own family. That's what I want for myself. That's what I want for the people that I love, is an alternative approach. Try all the conservative methods first and exhaust all those options before going to something more invasive.
Absolutely. And I feel with technology and communication, we can find what we need to be looking for. And I feel we've all grown up in that aspect. And as far as healthcare, I remember my first adjustment in life, and it was life changing. And I'm so fortunate to have Dr. Martin in my life for the last 20 years, and through 2 pregnancies, a horse accident, and a car accident, and I'm still here smiling. And I've shared this with you before, where you always provided hope, and it's that hope that you both really, really share with your patients. And I feel that hope, what you just mentioned, with the intention, both of you, that if you can provide somebody hope that they're going to feel better and they're going to get better, that's priceless. So,
Mhm.
and you've obviously have done a really good job in communicating that to your patients, because they keep coming back and your business has grown like crazy. So, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay, let's move on. Did I miss anything? I want to make sure that we're on track with our bullet points and our key points that we're going to be talking about. And Renee, I obviously you and I met recently, but your enthusiasm and everything that you bring to the table is so infectious and inviting and inspiring, that the both of you working together obviously has been unstoppable, and you've built a really neat business around this team and the legacy. And I am just so proud of where you both have become. And I know that that was not by accident. That was also with intention. And I just want to just move on to where obviously you've made some mistakes in your business and you've learned from that. And that's what I love about this conversation and in future conversations is that your approach has been specific, but it's also been from the heart and the mind and the gut in doing the right thing for the patients first. So can you share a little bit more about that and why do people keep coming back to Dr. Martin and Dr. Martin coaching?
Well, I think that patients keep coming back because of our culture. They're getting something at our offices that's different from other locations. Patients want to be seen. I mean, human beings want to be seen and heard and acknowledged, especially when we're suffering with some sort of symptom or condition. So, what they experience in our offices and then in our clients' offices, right, through the principles that we're teaching them, is something completely different where it's Martin family chiropractic. We truly treat you like your family. It's not, it could be cliche, but it's not. I mean, once they set foot in the door, they're like, oh, this makes sense. This is different. And we treat whole generations of people, so it's been really rewarding. Like I said before, I want to treat people the way that I want my family to be treated. I proudly refer friends and family into our offices, even if it's not a location that I'm in, because I know that they're going to get the same experience. And that's what, now that we've branched out and we're coaching other offices, we're excited because we're getting this impact in patients' lives and communities and ultimately the world. Like if you zoom out, right?
Big ocean.
Yes, big blue ocean. That's our impact. So as far as missing anything, I think that really what we want to establish in this conversation is you can head to a seminar as a practitioner. Someone can be really great, enthusiastic, and get you fired up about something to implement into your office. But if you don't know what it's all going to come with, the ricochet into your stress, your headspace, your money, your time, and then your staff, everything, it can go awry. It's a
Mhm.
big deal. And so there have been moments in working with Dr. Martin where there's something that he was excited about and it wasn't the full package. And the staff goes, what the heck? Is this for real? Because we love what we do. We love what we know. There is strain and stress in what's uncomfortable and what we don't know. But we also know that we don't grow unless we're uncomfortable. So our
Yes.
hope is to minimize the uncomfortable, although it's valuable. And if someone is a go-getter and they have a mindset and an intention of wanting to change patients' lives, we want to help them choose something that suits their staffing, their time, the effort that they want to put into it. But you've got to think about those principles before. And now before anybody logs off and goes, oh, forget this. Okay, well, they're just talking about when you may have already added something, but it could be sitting in a room collecting dust. Your staff resents it. You're stressed. You're overwhelmed. And you just go back to what Dr. Martin said, the meat and potatoes. And you just are thinking, I'm just going to do what's comfortable and what's safe and what I know. But it's a waste. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of potential of what you could do for those patients. So our hope is to also help those that want to take something they've already invested in and relaunch it in a healthy, positive way. And Dr. Martin has phenomenal action steps for how to make that happen.
Well, and the investment is can be so vast. It can be so it can either grow a business or actually cripple a business.
Yes.
And I know that specifically we were going to mention shockwave, and I also want to be clear that we're not promoting any specific manufacturer or any device or modality, but shockwave is definitely something that Dr. Martin and Renee do focus upon, and the coaching is aligned with that particular brand and technology.
Yeah.
But again, like what you just said, if you've got a modality or a piece of equipment in a closet, they don't store very well. Nothing fits around them, and you end up using them for a coat hanger, I would imagine.
Yes.
And so that is what is so unique about you too. And this approach is not only are you there for the patients, but you're there for other practitioners so that don't have to make the same mistakes that maybe you incurred, and can really align with what your model is, and what your coaching is all about. And whatever modality that they have, I'm sure you've probably either used it, tested it, or considered it. So
Yes.
I mean, the business aspect of it and the business model and the processes and programs that you have implemented, can that be really used for any modality, because it is more of a business focused approach with a modality? Is, all right, have you done the research? Would this fit? How much do you want to grow in your business? And what do you have the staff? Do you have the team? What's the financial all of that? And those are the pieces that you've already put together that you can be so inspiring and really an impact on other practitioners. Is that correct as far as, what you're all about and what you wanna do in helping others?
Yeah, thank you. That's an awesome summary. That's
Yeah.
absolutely what we're about.
Yeah, and I think when you say that, just to kind of make sure, Renee is definitely, you do such a good job on, the 5-star and rah, but it came with growing pains to get to that. And
Yep.
so one of the things we talked about was some of those growing pains, and I've witnessed them and I've also experienced them. I do remember in the early 2000s being me and another doctor, no staff, because all the staff left. And that's the number one problem, that you need a plan to, how do you enrich your culture? How do you hire correctly? We have that recipe. Like, how do you hire correctly that you're getting the right person in the right spot? And how do you nurture staff and support staff? Very important. And then when we talk about modalities, we've certainly, I do remember one of my close friends, before he's no longer in the business of chiropractic, he said, "Hey, can we have lunch?" I said, "Sure." Because I'm going broke. He invested all of his money into a decompression unit. And basically the expense of everything and the cost of advertising and everything built up onto him, the profitability was less and less. And over a 2-year process, sadly to say, him and his wife and 3 children drove him right into the ground, and he had to file bankruptcy.
Mm.
So there's always this fear about not just trying to help people, but you certainly want to do it the right way. So we've been able to successfully do a menu of services for a multitude of different modalities, which means shockwave is definitely one of our passions, but also laser therapy, decompression, right? Very important. Hyperbaric, right? Injections, right? I do a multitude of different offers. So I've helped create a big menu of services. Nutrition, detox. There's different programs you can add into your office if it resonates with you as a provider. And so these are some of the things, and that's why it's so important to be able to talk to somebody and say, "I love what I do, and I'm thinking about what the next step is." And it takes a series of questions. And then you have to have a series of questions to your staff to make sure they have, the bandwidth of adding that new service. Maybe they're on the breaking point. And I say this because I've had one of the doctors said, "Hey, I heard you're really, really good." And to this moment, just in case some of you don't know me, the offices that we've been coaching have always been just word of mouth, which means I've helped one and then helped two. This is kind of the first time that we're opening up and branching out to everybody. So we have a conversation with one of the doctors, just bought a brand new shiny, I think it was over $80,000 for this new technology, and brought it home, put it in the office, said, "I'm ready to do coaching on Monday." I said, "Great, doc, looking forward to it." Calls me Sunday night, tells his staff on Friday that he's got this new modality and we're doing new stuff and we're going to do a new schedule and we're going to have a launch and here's exactly what it's going to do. And this is all the stuff we're going to do. And the 2 staff members, they quit. The other doctor, no 2 weeks, just left. So Monday, he's got a full office of patients, a brand new hardware, and no help. Zero.
It can
And I'm like,
happen.
I wish. What's that?
It can happen.
It can happen. So I said, what we need to do is you need to go in the hiring. We need to put, unfortunately, we need to put this tech in the corner, collect dust, because you have no man or woman power to run a attended modality, because you have to start adjusting patients. He was a chiropractor. So we've learned from mistakes. And if you have a device, The next question is, how do we maximize your income?
Yeah.
And I've consulted many doctors that have said, hey, I'm coming to you because I have this modality. I'm doing well. I'm collecting $10, $12, $15,000 a month in a device. I said, great. That's fantastic. Well done. And then we start saying, well, how much do you charge the tech? How much do they get? 5,000. How much is advertising? 3,000. How much is your device? 2,000. Okay, how much is insurance? $300. And we start whittling away. And next thing you know, I'm like, I'm sad to say that you're not making 15,000 of add-on with all the services that we're providing with an attended modality. You're making more like $1,500.
Yeah.
And then they always ask me and say, well, should I charge less for the device? Maybe more people will, since I don't know what I'm doing. So the go-to, when you don't know what you're doing, charge less money. That's a sign and symptom to me that you are not mastering what you do, because people that master what they do, true artists or professionals, they're worth way more than they're usually charging. I hope you get that, because if you understand that, that's why you need someone to teach you shockwave protocols, shockwave implementation, how to put it in a successful office, not from a theoretical, but from actually someone that's doing it.
Yeah.
Yes. And ultimately, it's the patients who suffer. One of the things that Dr. Martin and I, when we at our coaching company's inception, one of the conversations we had, I was super passionate. I said, patients deserve expertise. Patients don't deserve experimentation. I don't want to be an experiment while a doctor is, or a tech, or a physical therapist is figuring it out, right? I want to feel safe and like I'm with an expert. And it's more than just your communication skills, because someone can be a great communicator and not know what the heck they're talking about. So I'm proud of the work that we've done in Dr. Martin's expertise and then implementation of it, because we're able to share this benefit to all these offices nationwide. But the patients, ultimately, that's where that trickle down goes, is better care, less stress, more money for the office, staff stays, right? Marriages last, because that's another thing. I mean, we're talking about the impact when you've got a stressed out doctor and an unsuccessful business. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And it's going to cause tension and stress at home. So I'm not saying we're on a mission to save people's marriages. That's not in any way what we're doing. Okay, that's a whole separate conversation. But what I am saying is, when you've got people of intention, people of passion, staff that understands a concept, protocol, procedures, scripts, forms done for you with this therapy that you're bringing on, doesn't that just sound warmer? Doesn't that sound like your spouse is going to go, okay, great decision, honey. Pat on the back. That sounds like a great idea. Not, holy cow, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, I like what you said a couple days ago, Dr. Martin, where you can ask a patient how they're doing, but your approach is, I better know how that patient is doing before they come in, and be mindful of what's going on with them instead of asking them what's going on. You should know what's going on with that patient. And I will tell you, over 20 years of having you treat me, it has been one of the most refreshing relationships that I have had, because it's consistent. And I swear, I don't know how you remember what's going on with me, but you do, and you did, and you have. And that is one of the primary reasons why I'm still here supporting you now
Mhm.
in getting the word out, because of my experiences. So if that's not a testimonial for you, right? I just thank you for that. And Renee, just all that you've done to support Dr. Martin, us aligning and coming together with the same goals in mind, and to share this, and because people need it. And what we want to do is, we're successful because of the bumps in the road that we've experienced, and the work that you've done, whether it was from an injury that got you here, Renee, where it was just a good meeting of the minds saying, have you come on board? But I'm so excited to keep these going. And we have some upcoming events with just Renee and me, that we're going to be talking about the team approach, the culture approach. And you recently were a keynote speaker, and I was just mesmerized at some of the items that you covered, and I want to touch on that more because I feel that that's just as important as treating patients is retainment, right?
Yeah.
And so your people are happy and they want to come back with a smile every day, and they feel supported too. They don't, excuse me, they don't want to get lost in the patient-centric care. They want to be cared about too. So it's a marriage, if you will, of making
Yes.
sure that everybody's happy and the business is profitable. So I
Yeah.
just again thank you so much for joining me today. Is there any other item that I may have missed or not covered or touched on for us to close up our half-hour discussion and really let people know where to find us, etc. So, last thoughts of information that you might want to share, and that also includes how people can get a hold of you. So let's just
Sure.
cover that real quick.
Well, I think Renee can probably kind of close out in just a second. But from my standpoint, I think for everyone that's watching, uh, there's a system that we do, and thank you, Kevlin, so much. I really feel like it was my honor and privilege to take care of you. Everyone is that I get to treat is I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate you being there, sending in your family, and checked your daughters. I've checked your family members. I've checked friends. Like there's so many different people that you've referred in. So thank you for giving me that trust. And I think it really comes back to philosophy. We talked a little bit of philosophy about what we're trying to do, right? And the philosophy that I look at is when it comes to practices. Another question, another gold nugget is as you're looking at modalities, and that's why you need someone to speak to about this is your practice based on pain? Is that your objective? Or is your practice about restoration of life? Because it's really important that as you're introducing this machine, that I've certainly had practices that says, I want all the scripting to say it's all about pain. It's all about westerly, back scale to take away pain. And where's your pain scale today? And where's it tomorrow? Pain, 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 pain. And then there's some that go, I'm not into that realm. I want to talk about restoration. I want to talk about wholeness, optimization, wellness. And so as you look at your practice, you have to find someone that's going to align that. And so that's one of the things that I have many, many practices that say, I don't want to have a pain office. And honestly, that's one doctor told me, he says, if you do something wrong in a practice, it can grind it up, if you do things incorrectly. And I said, even before, you price point a modality, you can grind up a practice. And when I say grind it up, destroy a practice that is maybe philosophically based here or here. When you start putting a modality and trying to put a round peg in a square hole because you're trying to sell pain, and all of a sudden all your chiropractic patients that were all about restoration care now hear about this pain device. Next thing you know, their visits are like, well, my pain's worse, my pain's bad, da, da, da. Next thing you know, your whole practice dwindles, and your dream, your your picture, the recipe that you dreamt up when you got out of school, physical therapy, medical doctor, chiropractic, all of a sudden it was like, now you don't have your dream. And so I think it's important to say what resonates with you. And if it resonates with you, let someone guide you. I look at myself, I've been doing coaching for many, many, well, almost decades now, coaching for shockwave specifically in the last 2.5, almost 3 years now, the healthcare offices for over 15 years. And you really need someone to guide you. When I say that, I'm like a Sherpa. I mean that with all, like, I'm looking outside and I see a mountain right now. I'm like, I've been up the mountain and down the mountain. I've been up the mountain and down the mountain. I've been up the mountain and down the mountain. And all of a sudden, I meet you at the bottom of the mountain and say, I want to go there, or I want to go over there. I'm like, I've been there. If that doesn't give you support and maybe a good feeling, then maybe I'm not the right person for it. But if you're like, you know what, if someone's already done it successfully, multi-million dollar offices, and that's where I want to go to, it makes sense that you need somebody to help you guide you through to get those success systems in. And so you're not asking the patient, how are you doing? You know what to do. So I
Yeah.
want to leave you with that. It's all about philosophy. And it is above, down, inside out. That's how practices work. That's how I work. And it's really asking the right questions. So I hope today was very helpful for you. Renee?
I think so. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and I'm so excited. We are going to share a checklist with everyone who attended. We're going to provide that for you. Basically, it's going to be a PDF. It's going to be a checklist for you to examine the things that we talked about today. We get lost and passionate sometimes in our conversations, but the bullet points of it are to have a high vibration, high energy, know your passion, know your intention, make sure that your staff aligns with that. You want to make sure that you have the staff and they know their roles, that you've got the physical space, and that you've got the time for scheduling, right? Because otherwise this will any modality will replace what you're currently doing instead of being an add-on. We also want to establish rewards for your team. Dr. Martin is phenomenal. There's a reason I've been with him for so long. Phenomenal at motivating staff and getting them to stay. So if you're not incentivizing your team, he's a great person to talk to about that. And then also setting short-term and long-term goals, because we need to celebrate wins along the way, or else we get demotivated really quick. Human beings, we're simple people. We're simple people. There's got to be a carrot along the way, right?
Okay.
Or else we feel like we're not accomplishing anything. So Dr. Martin actually shared a quote at a speaking engagement in Utah last year, and I'd love to close us out with that because I feel like it's the message behind everything that we're doing. And it's a quote by Dr. Bruce Lipton. And it says, "To fully thrive, we must not only eliminate the stressors, but also actively seek joyful, loving, fulfilling lives that stimulate growth processes."
Love
So
that.
good.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
good.
our mission. That's our purpose. We would love to connect with you. If you're with us live right now, the easiest thing to do is send us a DM in LinkedIn. If you're watching this recording, you can visit alignmenthealthpracticegroup.com or visit Dr. Curtis Martin and Renee Maroney on all the socials. But we look forward to answering your questions and connecting to hear more about your experience as a practitioner or as a patient who's looking for the right practitioner.
Excellent. Well done. I love that, both what you guys have said, and I super look forward to doing more of these and sharing this education and just really the experience that you bring to all of us. So thank you so much. And we will be seeing all of you soon, and looking forward to it. Y'all have a good day, and we will see you all shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.